is prohibited. Please keep your hands and arms inside the vessel at all times. Interfering with the safe operation of this vessel is illegal and subject to civil penalty.
196 pizza-shaped apartments, referring to the units starting out narrow and widening as you walk into them. Marina City opened up in the mid-60s at a time when most people did not live downtown. The idea behind the corncob city within a city. They wanted basically you to have access to a lifestyle. Those corn cobs opened up with your apartment, parking garage, boat marina, restaurant, grocery store, bowling alley, 10-story office building, health club, radio station, bank, ice skating rink, and even a theater, now the House of Blues. You could theoretically spend your whole life in one city block. Off on your right-hand side, we have the green glass building. This is the American Bar Association building. On the base, though, we have some beautiful outdoor dining spaces. On the bottom, it's Portofino's Pizzeria, which is good Italian. Above that is RPM Seafood, which remains, to this day, firmly out of my price range. Next door is the Reed Murdoch Center, 1914 by George Niman, a former warehouse boasting its original red brick masonry and terracotta ornamentation. You will count 6 bays of windows to the right-hand side of the clock tower, but there's only 5 off-tribal materials. It has a green roof to mitigate rainwater and will cool itself off using the Chicago River water. They end the process by returning all that water back to the Chicago River cleaner than when it first went in. That's green.
That's green.
Up next on your right-hand side, you guys are correct in your first assumption. This building is big. This is the Merchandise Mart. 1931, Graham Anderson Probst and White. $75 million. That's what I was looking for. Instead of the first time half of you looked at me like you put a bid in on it. That's a lot of money. And during Papa George and Haynes opened up in 2002. Designed with a low rise and a high rise of luxury condos, and in your foreground, townhomes. 70 of them. The most expensive are the ones you can see. They face the river. They knew in the 90s these townhomes facing the river were going to be priced at about $1 million each. So they opened up a model home to see if people would want them. And people did. In fact, all 70 townhomes of Kinsey Park had down payments before it even broke ground. Told us to embrace the river, and we did. This is how. On your right-hand side, a riverbank loft. Great example of adaptive reuse. We took what was already on the river and turned it into stuff we needed. This used to be the Wallace Business Form printing facility. They made things like invoices. Of course, with the whole digital age, that became unnecessary. In the early 2000s, it was emptied out, Erie on the Park, and to Erie on the Park. They are done in the European industrial style of architecture, allowing for industrial elements like the white steel bracing to remain evident on the building's facade. But keep in mind, folks, you're not going to see a whole lot of this European industrial style of architecture in Chicago. The population was over 300,000, and most of them felt the weight of the Great Chicago Fire. There's 4 reasons as to why the fire got a tiny bit out of control. Reason number 1 was dry summer. Between July 4th and October 8th, 1871, Chicago had 1 inch of rain fall onto it. Reason number 2, Chicago in 1870. That brings us up to date, though. We're going to jump back into architecture here off on your right-hand side with the upside-down building. This building and all the buildings off on your right are being implemented what they call a mass flush damper system. This is, in that case, 160,000 gallons of water and 4 tanks on top of that tower. The wind comes off the lake during a appearance as a chair and named after Samuel Insull, one of the main financiers of this building, who of the $36 million price tag, Samuel Insull put up half. 8 Plaza, Halliburton Route, 1920s, another beautiful example of Art Deco. This was the very first public plaza in our city, part of the 7-acre South Bank development by Perkins and Will. The South Bank development is a part of the South Loop neighborhood revival. This began with the same gentleman who did those corn cobs. So friendly reminder, no right angles. You see on the side there, they have that tall dome. Now the antenna is marking the spot for the fire department training academy to ensure that we never otherwise. Now on your right down the riverbank here, we have the old Union Station powerhouse, designed to provide energy for both Union Station as well as the old main post office. When it opened up in the early 30s, it was advertised as a, quote, they will most likely pave paradise and put up a parking lot. The Joni Mitchell reference. Or, like for my generation, is Counting Crows. Solid cover. Such a good Joni did a good job. We love Joni. When you look inside against the blue sky, you'll see a dark green glass tower, meaning it is not necessarily the highest residence in our city. It means that is the tallest building in the city whose sole purpose is limited to not one but two swimming pools. They have an indoor lap pool or walk to the beach. 27 is ridiculous. But if you're from LA, stay there. I want my cheap. During the mid-century, when the U.S. became obsessed with cars, we put up all these expressways, tucking Chinatown away between two of them. Access to green space was difficult or even dangerous. So again, they adapted the rail yard and donated land to the neighborhood so they could build a beautiful two-story outdoor mall. These oxygen reductions on top of a 45-story building. The top of the tower in Chicago said, when I give her a face, no one's going to build a tower and pop up to look like in it. I'm not wasting my time giving her something no one will ever be able to see. And of course, he was wrong. Let's talk about that. He does sound like a hater, but he's also wrong. See that 2 blocks away. Serious. But I'm sure you guys know where we're at. Get your cameras out, put your cameras on your right hand side and the road. Big black building, big white antenna. This is the best. One of each of the opposites. You can do that feet or on a meter. This way allows for wind streaming, and it's not visible to the naked eye, but if you're inside on a windy day, you can feel the building move. It was the tallest tower in the world upon its completion in May 1973. We held that tower for about 25 years until 1998. No longer the tallest tower in our city, it is still the tallest tower in the world. It is no longer the tallest tower in the world, but it is still the tallest tower in the city of Chicago. They are supported externally. In this case, most of our towers when we look, as I mentioned earlier, in Soul's Throne. It opened up in 1928, designed by Graham Anderson, ropes in white, designed with French Renaissance ornamentation, elements of Art Deco, and a very clear stage. New York was right, she was god-awful. She runs off crying, and 2 weeks later, the stock market crashed, ushering in the Great Depression. And was her city that did that. Helped him, and then on more than one occasion, he was sued. Now financially ruined, he fled the country in shame. He's got no Henry, dead, on the subway to Paris. The only thing left of his great wealth was 70 cents in his pockets from the city. All fishing is exclusively catch and speed. The main idea behind that is good God, not to fish. You're right, you have beautiful diabolical architecture to brighten up the otherwise dark interior space. Up next, take a look ahead of the boat off on your right-hand side. Against the blue sky, you can see a dark green Art Deco building with what appears to be a golden tub by 1,000 of an inch thick. Just like me, it is remarkably thick. Motif, this is why they have that Moorish dome up on top. Right behind the dome is a slightly taller stone tower called a pyramid. The pyramid was designed theoretically for plinth landings, but it did not see a single plinth because the Hindenburg disaster happened first. After that tragic event, Chicago decided instead that blimp on top of the skyscrapers was gone. Probably shouldn't do that. It's a good story. Up next, we look inside. You guys can see into the glass pavilion. This is our Apple Store. 1,198, oh my gosh, 1,136 feet tall. It beats out the John Hancock by only 8 feet. That is less than 3 meters in height. I have found a handful of them listed online recently. I went on Zillow. This is what I do with my spare more dollars or so to build it out. Wow. He has to customize it. He has to turn a penthouse to a penthouse. But you guys got a great taste of the downtown area with things like boat tours, luxury condos, and the Riverwalk. You can tell that today the river is a desirable place to be. It is, but it was not always. Back in the 1800s, a river was a dump. Literally, if you did not want something, you just threw it in the river. Large quantities of raw was recognized as being toxic. What made it worse is at the time the toxic water went out to Lake Michigan. So what happened to it once it hit the lake? We had no choice. We pumped that disgusting... That penthouse is fully built out, move-in ready. It sold about 3 years ago for $6.8 million. These are luxury condos. On your right-hand side, you guys have the Sheraton Hotel, 1,200 rooms. and accommodations makes it the fourth largest hotel in Chicago by room count. The building opened up in 1990, designed by Solomon, Cordwell, and Bench, who are well known for these turreted corners, that are these castle-like curved corners. We are now passing beneath the Columbus Drive Bridge. This is where we begin to dye the Chicago River green on St. Patrick's Day. 40 pounds of a bright orange powdered vegetable dye goes into our river. It is all designed organically to not hurt or harm our ecosystem, although no extensive tests have ever been done. Upon mixing with the water, the orange powder turns a bright neon green color, and that lasts in the main branch here 3 or 4 days. Off on your right is NBC Tower, home to Channel 5 News and their 4-story production facility, designed to pay direct homage to 30 Rockefeller Center in New York City. Across the street from that, the short little building here is the downtown campus for the University of Chicago. They call it the Gleacher Center. It opened up in 1993, designed by Dirk Lohan, the grandson of Mies van der Rohe. He put into this building 13 classrooms. All 13 classrooms are in the back, and as we pass, you can tell they don't have any windows. Caught a lot of heat for that too. Chicago said, "Hey Dirk, what's your freaking damage? Don't you want to take in the views of the city?" And his response was a prompt and an adamant, "No, I don't." His argument was that these were classrooms. Students in classrooms have no business looking out the windows of the views of the city. They should be paying attention to their teachers. It's audacious, it was rude, and he is onto something. Today, the university, I'm happy to call Chicago my home. I'm happy you guys chose Wendella today to give me this opportunity so I could share a little bit of my home with you. I hope